Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm joined here with our lead senior account manager, Dean. So welcome, Dean.
Thank you.
Dean's been on the channel a couple times before, and today he's going to be walking you guys through how to set up and scale shopping ads specifically for beginners. For those of you who still have not maximized the utility of the channel within Google Ads, because yes, there's lots of new things coming out, AI Max, Performance Max, but still shopping ads are the bread and butter of so many of our accounts, and they are the highest quality placements in my opinion. So I'm going to let Dean take over now, but if there are any of you who are interested in having us help you scale your Google Ads or shopping ads, there'll be a link down below. But with that being said, Dean, go ahead and jump in.
So the first thing that you guys need to have ready before you move on to any campaign setup will be going to Google and just look up Google Merchant Center. Google Merchant Center will be the tool that will allow you to upload your products to Google and be able to run shopping campaigns. If you do not have Google Merchant Center set up first, then you won't be able to set up this campaign type. So that will be the first step. Now, if you do not have an account yet, it's going to ask you to sign up, and you just go through the flow process. It's going to ask you for like business name, for website. For those of you that are using Shopify, there is already a Google and YouTube app that you just need to install. I'll just show you here. And that app will be the one that you will use to connect your Shopify store with Google Merchant Center. And yeah, so this is the app that you will be using to setting up the GMC or Google Merchant Center for your Shopify store. Now, once you go through that process, you will be able to see the following app, which is Google Merchant Center Next, is the new generation of GMC. And on this, you will be able to see under products, all the products that are coming from your Shopify store. So now, when you first set up the Google Merchant Center, you will see that the status of these products is going to be pending or in review. Usually, the first product submission that you do might take a few days for Google to review and approve. And if there are any issues with products, Google will let you know. But if there aren't, then the status of these products will just change to approve. And you will be able to see like the product title, like the image, the product ID, the price, and all the relevant information regarding your products. Now, once you see that all of these products are approved or the products that you want to advertise are ready to go, then step 2 will be to go to your Google Ads account. We're going to click on the plus button for create campaign. And then we're just going to create on new campaign. Now, the objective is going to be sales. Once you set up the Google app from Shopify, or if you do manual purchase conversion tracking, then you will have this purchase objective. That is going to be the one we want to optimize towards. And then we have to select a campaign type. Now, when you select shopping, the first thing Google will ask you is select the products or select your Merchant Center account, which is the reason why is the first step you need to do. You need to set up GMC. You need to link it to your Google Ads account before you can do this process. So then you can see here the GMC account, which is the one we were just looking at a moment ago. Now, by default, Google will try to ask you to select Performance Max. But in this case, we want to focus on standard shopping because the shopping is the one that will allow us to optimize towards specific search terms. We can optimize towards specific like ad groups that we want to have. Let's say we have different product categories, which I'm going to show you in a bit on this account specifically. But we're going to select shopping campaign here.
Just quickly, Dean.
Yes.
Before we continue, I feel like a lot of beginners and a lot of people in general get pulled into Performance Max because Google pushes it so hard. Could you just quickly specify on when you should use Performance Max versus standard shopping?
Yes. So if this is a brand new account with no data, you should definitely start with Google Shopping because Google Shopping will allow you to control the bids by using either maximize clicks or using manual CPC, and will allow you again to just focus on search term optimization to make sure that your products show to the most relevant people. And the problem with Performance Max is when you do not have any data, because the only two bidding strategies for Performance Max are maximize conversions and maximize conversion value, then you're more likely to waste money on Google's algorithm trying to find buyers when it doesn't have any data to back it up. So it's just going to bid pretty high for search terms that are irrelevant, and you're just going to end up wasting money.
Gotcha.
So that's where you usually choose between Performance Max and Standard Shopping. The other scenario in which you might select Performance Max along with Shopping which also on this account we did that strategy, is when you have other traffic sources. So for example, let's say you are running meta ads. So when you are running meta ads and you want to leverage, all the traffic that's coming from Meta, and you want to get some data onto the account, one of the first things you can do is just set up a Performance Max campaign that's feed only, that's fully focused on search and the shopping and the remarketing portion of it. So then you can, leverage the traffic that's coming from other sources. But for now, let's just focus on standard shopping. And we just click on continue. So here it's going to ask us for a campaign name. Let's say this campaign is for jackets, if we were to sell jackets. Then you don't need to select anything here like inventory filter. And then the bidding, you have a couple options. Actually, you just have 3 for shopping. You can either do maximize clicks, you can do manual CPC, or you can do target ROAS. So target ROAS won't be available if this is a brand new account with no conversions. This is only available when you have like 15 plus conversions already on the account. And that's when Google will let you change it. So don't be scared if Google doesn't let you. It's just going to say, hey, you need more conversions before making the switch. So you have maximize clicks and manual CPC when we're just getting started. So in this scenario, we're going to use manual CPC because on manual CPC, we can control the bids very specifically. So when you are running multiple product categories, you can say, okay, for jackets, I want to bid $1, but for pants, I want to bid 75 cents, or for vest, I want to bid 50 cents. Like you can be very specific at the product level on what you want to bid when you use manual CPC. But when you use maximize clicks, you can only set a bid cap at the campaign level. And that's what Google's going to use across the entire product catalog to bid for those products. So let's stay on manual. Then you just define a manual budget, which is going to be whichever works for you. Could be 25, 50, 100, whatever it is. So in this case, we're just going to do 25. And then Google just added the customer acquisition option for shopping. So that's brand new. It was primarily available for Performance Max, but now it's available for shopping as well. In case you want to utilize that option, we could probably do a video just on that option alone and strategies for new customer acquisition because it's a separate topic. But for now, we're going to keep the campaign priority as low. When you have only one shopping campaign, is the default recommended option. When you're running like a different strategy, like the tier strategy, you can utilize the campaign priorities to be differently. So basically, this is just in which order do you want the campaigns to show up based on the priority and the bids that you set. That's usually how you use it. But for now, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it on low. Now, I always deselect the Google search partners because I want to get as clean traffic as possible. At least in the beginning, you want to get data on just the googlesearch.com. That's what you want to look into. Then on Google Shopping, Google only lets you like just all devices by default. So there's no option to like remove like computers or phones or tablets or anything like that. It's going to be everything by default. Then the next thing is you're going to select the location, which is going to be based on wherever your account is based. In this case, it's United States. And then this is like a very interesting option that most people forget, which is you want to make sure your ads are set to like presence, especially when you have catalogs across multiple countries. You want to make sure you only show ads in the country that you're advertising on. If you have these enabled, like presence or interest, then your ads can show anywhere in the world where your product catalog can show and where someone is using the United States in the name and then just searching the product category. So you don't want to do that. That's why sometimes, especially on search campaigns, you will see companies saying, oh, why am I getting traffic from other countries that I'm not advertising on if I didn't select that country during the location process? And this is the main reason why. So we're going to keep this in presence, and then we're going to give our ad group a name, which is going to be, let's say, jackets, and then we're going to set a bid. So let's say it's $1. And then you just click on create campaign. I'm not going to do that because I already have one. Just go ahead.
With the bidding, what makes you choose $1?
That's a great question. So usually like when you have like a new account and on shopping, $1 is like a good starting point, depending on the product and the AOV that you have. But what you can do to get an idea on like a better number would be going into the tool section and opening the keyword planner, and you just search like the product category that you're advertising. So in this example, let's say it's jackets. So we search on jackets, and then the results that are going to show here are primarily the ones from search. Like it's not specifically for shopping. So these prices that we see on like the low range and the high range of bids come from a search. So because we're not running search in this example, what you usually do is like drop the CPC somewhere around 30% to what Google shows here. And that's usually a bid that will work on shopping. Now, this is something that you need to try out because it varies by country, by niche, like it can vary a lot. But let's say in this example, my low range is 57 cents and then my high range is $2. But this is a very broad term, like just jackets and all kinds of jackets, all materials, etc. But let's say I added $1 because it's somewhere in the middle. And what you have to do is watch out your impression share when you're first starting out. Because if your campaign is not running, meaning it's not serving impressions, clicks, it's not spending, then you're going to have to start raising your bids. Now, one of the industries like e-commerce wise that's expensive, it's furniture, for example. If you just sell on furniture, you will have like clicks on $60, office furniture, $28, right? So because it's also dependent upon the value of the product. Like if you're selling $10,000 furniture, then you might expect higher CPCs because the competition is higher and just Google will expect you to pay more for that. If I'm selling like in this example, jackets that are like $200 to $50, then you just do the research on the keyword planner and you can get an idea on what the CPC looks like. Moving on, these are the campaigns that we have set up. This is a brand new account that we just started. Now, we started with 3 core campaigns. We started with a PMAX feed only. We started with the shopping campaign. And then we started with a branded search. The split up budget when we first started was $75 for the shopping, $25 for the feed only Performance Max, and then just $10 for the brand. The purpose of brand, some people like to run it, some people don't, but this is like the easiest campaign that you can run that can help you get data quickly on the Google Ads account. And most importantly, help you protect your brand from competitors. If it was the case that your brand was being bid by competitors or you were bidding for other competitor brands, then you can have this campaign very easily, pay as cheap as possible. You want to make sure that your branded search is set up on manual CPC so that you don't overspend. And that's what this account looks like. Now, let's focus on the shopping campaign because that's the purpose of the video. So let's say that the campaign that we set up in the beginning, this is what it looks like. And then this campaign has 3 ad groups total. We have jackets, we have pants, and we have vest. The reason why you see these 2 ad groups that are paused is because the performance didn't meet the expectations and because other things that I'm going to talk in a bit. But let's focus on the ad group that we discussed in the beginning, which was jackets. Now, when you set up the ad group by default, Google's just going to have all products in it. So you need to create either like product type tags, which you can do easily from Google Merchant Center, or you can create what's called custom labels. A custom label will allow you to segment your products and just categorize them either by brand, can be product category, and that will make it super easy for you to just like organize the products in different ad groups and just be differently depending on the product. So in this case, this ad group is entirely advertising just jackets. So if I go here, this is what the products look like. And then we can look the performance at the individual level on what conversions look like at each product. And this campaign just started in the beginning of May. So since the beginning of May, we started this shopping campaign. And you can see how there were some days in which we were spending and we were not receiving any conversions, which is pretty normal when you're just starting out. You just want to keep it going and make sure that your search terms are relevant. So you go here under the Insights and Report section, and you just click on Search Terms. You want to make sure you're on the campaign that you set up. And then let's just go ahead and remove these filters. So for example, these are the keywords that we want to be advertising for. You want women's tuxedo. In this case, this is the product that we're advertising. Tuxedo for women, tuxedo suit, women, and so on and so forth. So you want to check out that the search terms from your products are relevant to what you're offering. And for example, you will see when brand is sneaking in, you want to make sure that your prospecting shopping campaign has all the possible search terms for your brand, exclude it, because the purpose of your shopping campaign is to be prospecting and finding like cold traffic. So you want to exclude like any search terms related to your brand. But basically, you will go through this. One tip that I can give you is you go to the filter section and you type in cost. You want to be looking at search terms that spend more, because you can show up on your ads and like generate impressions. But if it's not generating a cost, it means that it hasn't generated a click. So it's not as important as focusing on the ones that are spending money. So all the search terms that are spending money that are not relevant will need to get excluded. So you just basically review all the search terms and you check and see if there are any of these that do not qualify or are not relevant for your product, and you just start checking those. You add as negative keyword, and you can either add it as ad group, campaign, or negative keyword list. I recommend you build a list, because when you want to recreate a different campaign, or when you want to use like search campaigns, you want to be able to reuse all those keywords that you know are not relevant and you want to be excluding on other campaigns, as opposed to just having to do that every single time you have a brand new campaign set up. Basically, how you start your shopping campaign. So you have your GMC set up, you set up the campaign. You can see like it's just a couple clicks. It's very simple. But the most important thing is that you make sure that the products are added in the specific ad group that you want to advertise, and you want to make sure that your bid is high enough, that your campaign is spending, that you're getting good impression share, and most importantly, that you're getting conversions and sales. And yeah, that's pretty much how you do it.
There we go. Nice. Yeah, it was super interesting. And I think like you've covered really all the bases that you need to know with shopping. It's not too complicated, is it?
No, it's not. Like, it's not complicated to set up, but you have to invest time to optimize it.
Yeah. Which we've covered as well, by the way, on this channel, which we'll leave a link to in regards to optimizing your shopping ads. But how would you go about measuring the success of your shopping campaign? Are you just purely looking at ROAS, or are you looking at other metrics like CTR, conversion rate, etc.?
Yeah. So the first thing to diagnose is, before you get into the ROAS conversation or MER conversation, you want to look like how those metrics are looking. The number one thing is, am I spending money? Yes. Then am I spending money on relevant searches? Yes. Are these searches, this is the next thing, and this is where most people fail. Some terms are relevant, but doesn't mean that because they're relevant, we should keep them. Like let's say I'm selling tuxedos, but your tuxedos are for women from a specific age range, or you only carry specific colors. If you are showing ads for the word tuxedos, then you're going to waste a lot of money, even though it's relevant to your product category. So usually what we like to do is, if any given search term has already spent, let's say 3x your target cost per purchase or your target cost per result, it must go away. It must get excluded. I've seen a lot of brands that keep terms that are they are relevant because they are part of the product category, but they just don't convert. They don't bring any sales. So if they do not bring any sales, you should not keep them, because what you're going to come up with in like a few months is thousands of dollars wasted just because you wanted to keep it, just because it's relevant and you think people are searching that way. But if people are not buying through that search term, then there's just no point on keeping it. So that's where I see most people fail. Now, the second thing is, if we are selling similar products to other competitors or other brands, we must work on our product fit. What exactly does this mean? We want to optimize our titles. We want to optimize our descriptions. We want to test out lifestyle images when we're selling apparel against just white background product images, and also like pricing. Those are the things that we have seen move the needle the most when it comes to like the auction and how Google positions your products, because there is no way on shopping to select the keywords that you want to show up for. So your keywords become your products. So if your products are not optimized, meaning your product do not contain the keywords that are the most relevant, that have the most volume for your product, then you're just not going to show up. I'm going to give an example here. These product titles contain my target audience, which is just women's. Then we have colors, and then we have the word tuxedo. right? So in that order, because tuxedos, there are for men, there are all kinds of colors. So I want to be like very specific for the terms that I show up. And if I'm showing up for like women's tuxedo, then great. That's exactly what I want to do. So that's where I see like most people fail. And again, this is something that you need to look in a daily basis, because every day is like data that Google is collecting. And if you're not training Google on, hey, Google, this is not the keywords that we want, go ahead and add them as negative. And Google will just try to continue spending money because you're not guiding Google on what you want it to do, basically.
Cool, guys. So that is everything for today. I really appreciate that, Dean. Thank you very much. I think that was super useful. I wish I had that tutorial when I was first getting started with Google over 3 years ago now. But regardless, with that being said, if you are an e-com brand and you are interested in us running your Google ads, your Meta ads, really anything to do with your marketing, then you can click the first link in the description. But if you want to just get the value for free, you can absolutely do that just by liking and subscribing to this channel, because we are posting 2 in-depth paid ads related videos every single week. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.